Hello, myself Shweta, and thank you for step in this video. So basically, this video and this podcast series is Kahani series where I'm talking to the author and the writing professionals who just want to tell their story, unexplored story. So in this whole podcast series, we have so many guests who just want to talk about their unexplored stories and inspire the young generation for journaling, for writing, and for write down their thoughts on a paper. So, yeah, if you're new in this podcast series, so I just must tell you this is the series for the listener, for the storytellers, and for the writing professionals, and for the anyone who just want to who just want to going deep in their thoughts and just want to tell the story to the world. So in my this podcast series, my first guest is Jessica. She is marketing and communication consultant. She is a script writer and co-author of the book You Are in My Room with Srijit Padmanabhan. So yeah, without wasting any time, let's get dive in.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So today I'm thrilled to introduce someone who's very beautiful and blends creativity, communication, and compassion. So we have Jessica. She is not only the seasoned content writer and marketing consultant, but she's a published author as well. And her writing journey began with a spark during an internship and has grown into a vibrant professional career filled with the passion or storytelling and digital marketing. So she's writing for multiple industries, mentored young minds, and recently co-authored the book Go to Your Room.
Room.
So with Srijit Padmanabhan, a title that already has our curiosity piqued. So Jessica is on mission to explore new narratives, push creative boundaries, and inspire other through her words. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's dive into the world of words and wisdom and wonderful storytelling with inspiring Jessica. So yeah. So hi Jessica.
Hi, Shweta. Thank you so much for the introduction. I don't know if this needs such a big compliment, but thank you. It's for your kind words, really. It means a lot.
Okay. So Jessica, tell me about your story. Like from your journey from Kerala to a comic book creator is giving main character energy. So how you started everything?
Would you like me to talk about the journey of the comic first? Yeah?
Uh yes, yes,
Yeah, I'll
yes.
just, for those of you who will be watching, this is a copy of the comic at this point of time. And
Okay.
I had mentioned to you in a conversation that we are planning to upgrade it to a different version. So this currently is in the form of a comic booklet, but sooner we'll be releasing a book version of the same, and I'm very glad to announce it here with you. In terms of the comic, I have been wanting to write for a very long time and bring out a published work. So when I was in college and right before I turned 20, I told myself, this is 2019, you'll be turning 20 this year. Might as well go and publish something and have a book in your name by the time you're age 20. And then I realized that I didn't really find a niche or a story that I found worth telling. Something that struck a chord with me, or something that I was able to speak from the depths of my heart and actually create an impact. And that's when I realized that the more you age is how you gain more experience and how you find the stories that are actually worthy to share. Fast forward a few years, I'd completely put this on the back burner. And then suddenly last year I thought, why not? Why not go with something that I've never explored before? We had the idea first to go with the children's book. The children's book idea was sorted, and I had a different story altogether. And that story is still, shelved, waiting for the right time to be published. But what happened is that we realized that book would take more than a year just for illustration. That was the kind of vision we had for that one, and we realized that that was not exactly what we needed at that point of time. We were looking to quickly kickstart those dreams that we were having for a very long time. And I thought, why don't we do a comic? And I spoke about this story idea with my illustrator Srijit, and then we thought, okay, let's quickly go ahead. Totally, this must have taken around 2 to 3 months from actual ideation to putting it out there, but the journey was really beautiful. And why we chose mental health is another question that has been asked us a lot. And that's because I feel really strongly about children's mental health. And when I had this chat with Srijit, he too felt the same. And we believe that both jointly we believe that childhood is one of the most beautiful time periods of our life.
Yes,
Like the
yes.
joy of being a child is something that we all go back to and think of in our adulthood. And that's possible only when we had a fruitful childhood, right? When we only had a childhood that had beautiful memories or something that you could look back to and be like, ha, I had a great time back then. Now let's think about children from families that are broken, or families where they're abandoned, where maybe they're living in marginalized homes, where they are in situations like an orphanage or a care home, where they may face social alienation, isolation, etc. What do we do for those children? How do they talk about their childhood? What are the memories that they will carry with them? And we constantly see on Instagram this barrage of relationship experts, therapists, everybody being like, you need to heal that childhood wound. So I thought, why don't we heal it in the beginning, or why don't we make sure that the wound doesn't occur, and then from there maybe let's guide them to a beautiful adulthood. So that's kind of the backstory of how we got here.
No, that's great actually. And the idea of joining both the beautiful topics, mental health and childhood, represented as a comic book is actually a great idea. I really want to read your comic book. Like
Sending you a copy.
I have.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So now my next question is, spill the tea. Who is the Srijit Padmanabhan in your kahani? And is he your marketing guru, comic conspirator, or just someone who makes someone's the idea, or your illustrator?
Okay, so I have had the honor of knowing Srijit for I think 3 years now at this point. We met in 2022 at one of the firms we worked earlier. We both don't work there anymore, but I'm glad that we were able to meet at that particular point of time in our lives. Since then, we have been discussing working together on a book. That's the truth. But we never really got around to it, shifting jobs, figuring out that, rhythm that fits one another and all of those things. So last year we thought, why don't we do something different? We have been talking about this. Maybe it's time we just start doing it instead of waiting to see what happens next. And he's basically a UI UX designer. He also does graphic designing, video editing, the whole gamut. And he's a very talented individual. And one of the highlights of our comic happens to be the cover art. I can just show it once again for those who will be watching. I don't know if it's visible. Yeah. And he made all of this from custom, like it's all a custom made design, something that we wanted to perfectly reflect the story that has been shared. And I'm really grateful that he was able to bring my vision to life, as well as bring in his unique perspective on the subject as well. And I'm glad that I have a very talented person to collaborate with who actually gets me. It is a blessing, I would say. Yeah, that's that.
I don't have this. I have this opportunity for traditional publishing of my book. Actually, since I am writing on so many online platform, so there's a one publication house. They approach me. Hey, you are writing for a book. So I just they told me the context of story. Then I show them my work as well. So we have this collaboration, and they all think the sponsored by them. So, from my perspective, if someone is going to launch their own book from scratch, so like you have the friend of you have friend like UX UI designer. So, how you think about this niche? It is a growing niche for young author or for young youth who are just going to upskill them. So, how just you have thought in this niche?
And you're talking about publishing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Publishing your book. So I'll just go back to a few experiences I've had in the past and then talk about why we chose the way we published our book. So in I think 2023 mainly, I got the chance to be a part of a few anthologies. Like if you had
Okay.
paid up, you were able to be a part of few anthologies and you'd have your work featured. And at that point of time, I was not really big on self-publishing or traditional publishing. All that I wanted to do at that point of time was get my work out into some book that had an ISBN. So I did that for 3 works. And then later on, there was this Instagram page. I prefer not to name them now. They approached me like, "Are you interested to write or something?" And then I agreed and I paid up. I gave them even the money for the hard copy of the magazine that would come out later. I think it's been 1.5 years now. I still have not received the copy of my magazine. I approached the people who approached me in the beginning around so many times just to get their details of please give me an update what's happening. And I believe these kids were students, so they will tell me like, we are having a law exams, we are having this, we are having that, and I'd be like, oh, very understanding. But I never really got a proper update, and all I got were empty excuses. In the end, they even gave me the number of the printer, and they said, you know what, you can call this guy and ask whether your work is ready. And I found that really unprofessional because I was somebody who took out a big chunk of my time to write that particular article for that magazine, and to not even know what's happening with it otherwise was very sad for me. Anyways, what came to my mind when we decided to publish this work was were all these experiences running in the back of my head. And I thought before we approached, maybe putting our work out on Amazon or any other place for that matter, why don't we try self-publishing? That was one
Okay.
of our first thoughts. Why don't we try self?
And I thought to myself, why don't we go ahead with this? Of course, because a lot of people ask us, why didn't you publish this on Amazon, or why didn't you go with the traditional publisher, just send out manuscripts? And one of the aspects in that regard is that it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Traditional publishing, or trying to put your work out there in that particular format takes a lot of time, and we didn't exactly want to spend that time, mainly because our end goal was to get this book out on World Children's Day, November 20th. And even though we started work like 2 months or so prior to that, there's always that time that you need, like we are having full-time jobs, and amidst that you're trying to write a story, get it edited, get it illustrated, make sure it looks good. And in that particular point of time, we do not have the luxury of running around to publishing houses with our manuscript and being like, hi, can you please review this for us, and so on and so forth. So we thought, let's go with the self-publishing thing. I got in touch with a few of my friends. I would like to particularly mention Anujit from AB Comics, Adibigra Comics, and he was somebody who guided me and told me how he did his part of the story. And for those who are maybe not in the know, there's a lot of indie comic work that's happening in Kerala, and that's really a booming scene. It's so heartwarming to see so many lovely creators come out from Kerala particularly and put out their work, whether it's in Malayalam or in English. And there's this platform called Indie Comics Commune, etc., who have valuable sessions on, where they bring in established comic book people, artists, illustrators, writers, and they talk about the craft. And that really guides you and helps you. I've not been ever able to attend their session in person, but I'm glad to be a part of the community. And they have this annual Indie Comics Fest happening in Kochi. And I believe a lot of that is happening across India, so like in Mumbai and all of those places. So that was primarily my motive to self-publish, because I saw a lot of people, when I attended the Indie Comics Fest in 2023, I saw a lot of people who had very bravely put out their work. And I say bravely because as somebody who is now a writer and somebody who's trying to create work or content that matters actually, it's like putting a piece of yourself out there for scrutiny. And I really say that the creators who have done that, who have led the way and allowing us, people like us, to do the work, it's beautiful. So self-publishing was what worked for us. And in terms of the effort behind it, I would say it was a lot, because it was the two of us handling all the logistics of it, like whether it's going to the printer and getting our copies printed, or making sure we have the covers that we need to put in our comic, how would be, packaging this, who would post this. So a lot of the work rested on the two of us mainly, but we juggled responsibilities and made sure that our comics went out on time. So if you have a teammate or a partner or somebody who can help you accurately and precisely, then I think self-publishing should be fine for somebody starting out. And then maybe once you have a lot of time on your hands and you have a larger manuscript that you believe would reach a larger audience through a publishing house, then certainly go that way. Also, this is applicable to comic creators as well. If they want to do the traditional publishing for their first work itself, that's totally fine. This is just my journey and what worked for me personally. Yeah.
So, as you told, the self-publishing, actually, I didn't try it as well. I'm so inquisitive about how this whole process is going through, because I just want to do it by myself in some sort of my journey. So, can you walk us through the basic step of self-publishing for the first time on?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So a lot of these insights came from my friend, as I told you. And then what we did from our end was we did a lot of research too. Both me and Srijit, we're like, how does this work? What happens behind the scenes actually? And so we got our story ready in the printable format, like whatever format we wanted. We went to the press and we spoke to them and they showed us the various formats in which we could get it published. We chose the card format. I think this is a particularly, as I mentioned, we are repackaging it as a book. But this one was a card because we wanted the story to reach a larger audience quickly. So this is our idea, to have the story here and the message for the final message for the reader here. And the car art would be here along with a little bit of illustrations in the between. And so I set that up, asked them to get it printed. And in the meanwhile, I spoke to a few of my friends in the Cochin Book Club, a book club I'm part of here in Kochi, who have been a wonderful source of support and encouragement for us throughout this journey. I'll just let you know on a quick tip. Neither our families, nor our friends, nor any of these book club people, nobody knew about the fact that we were coming out with such a work. Since it was the first one, I didn't want us to get, backtracked with a lot of criticism and a lot of will they, want they, and I wanted to be free of that. A lot of times even, well-meaning friends will come in like, are you sure you want to do this? Why are you doing this? And that sort of words can really put you down. So we kept this under the wraps until the last moment. On 20th was the day my family, his family, everybody came to know that we were working on something like this. And so there's this person in my book club, his name is Vineet sir, and he's already been interviewed by so many people, etc. He is a book collector, a very avid reader. He's around more than 20,000 books in his collection at home. And he would say voracious reader of comics. And he was the one who suggested like how we could pack it and send it in the right way for buyers. So we had to go find it on wholesale, the packets, the covers, etc. Some we had to pay price for, and then we had to work out the pricing on our own. That was another thing we had to agree on. How would we price this? What would be an ideal price point for a work like this? And once we figured that out, we started sending out messages. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of support came from our friends and family, everybody, those of us who bought the comic. I think we were able to sell around 100 copies.
That's great.
And I would say one of the advantages of self-publishing is that from start to finish, you know where your work is, you know how it's being sent, whether it has received the right, it's reached the audience and all of that. Maybe that's something, such a personal experience would not have been possible if we had gone with a traditional publishing house. However, as I mentioned earlier, unless you have a strong team to back you up, or friends or a proper teammate or partner to help you out, maybe this not be ideal for maybe somebody doing it all alone.
So, can you walk us through the basic steps of self-publishing, or which platform you choose for your book? There is so many platforms there for self-publishing.
Yeah. We personally chose not to put out any of our works on Amazon or Kindle or any other place at this point of time. And that was because we primarily wanted to see how this work would function, like how this would be if we were to reach out personally to people, market it and so on. And maybe we would consider putting it out on a platform for the next few books that we have in the offing. But at this point of time, we chose not to do it. It's that I believe there's a lot of issues that arise over copyrights and ownership, and we didn't want to deal with those issues at that point of time. We just thought, okay, let's see where this comes up in the future, and then we'll take it up. Currently, this is solely not published on any platform.
Okay.
That was our choice.
So,
Yeah.
so what's your thought about there's a self-publishing websites or the platforms which gives the author a well-mannered platform like the Notion Press. Notion Press is there. There is a Kindle. So, what's your thought about it?
I have approached places like Notion Press, etc., for the work that I had in my mind at a previous time period, I would say. But that work was largely non-fiction, I would say, more like prose, etc. And this is something I'm collaborating with another individual and working on, right? And so when I thought about it, I felt this would be the most ideal platform for us. Especially, like I mentioned, we had kept this under wraps until the last moment. And maybe this was something like we were testing the waters technically, and we had a subject that we didn't want to get diluted amidst publishing or marketing. The point was to ensure that our story would get across to the audience that looking to. There we can see the next version of it. Let's see what can never go.
Oh, that's
I have not personally, since I'm not personally.
So, my next question for you is like, as we are the LinkedIn professionals as well, we have to be there and we have to build our personal branding there. So, how LinkedIn help you professionally?
Okay, so my creator journey actually started only in 2023. Just like many other college students, I opened my LinkedIn profile during my college years itself. So I would say this was around 2017 or 2018 when I started my LinkedIn account. And then I was unaware about it because you just used it for internships, and by that time I already landed a pretty good one. I was working there and I gained my experience that I was looking for. And post my graduation, I was preparing for the civil service examinations for a few years. So LinkedIn wasn't something I had to exactly go back to and check or something like that. All I had to do was just focus on my studies. But then I started working full time again in 2022. Previously, I used to freelance on the side as well while preparing for my exam. But then I started working full time. And in 2023, I came to know about the program that was known then as LinkedIn for Creators. And I asked myself, why don't I try to be a part of this? Etc. But nothing like where I posted content or shared my experiences, none of those things. Then fast forward to 2022, I started working full time again. And by 2023, I thought, okay, I should be part of this new program I'm hearing about a lot. And that was the LinkedIn for Creators program. And I used to tag them in my initial post. It started in June 2023. And I had made a promise to myself that only I would share authentic content and it would not be, AI based stuff. I would be talking about actual stories of how I landed up in content writing, what writing meant to me, what tips I would give for new writers. And I just wanted it to, be along those lines. And slowly but surely, I started finding people who resonated with my content, people who liked the humor I brought out in certain instances, people who appreciated the advice. And overall, I enjoyed that experience, but I didn't really think it would go to a point where I would cross the 10K follower mark or that I would be mentoring people personally. The mentoring people and all came very later along in the journey. Like I think I started only after 6,000 followers or so. I thought maybe I could do this for free. So I did a lot of one-on-one free sessions. But what LinkedIn gave me has been incredible, I would say. I'm really grateful to the platform. I have found pretty much all my jobs from LinkedIn. I have been invited to colleges to, speak to their children, or even my old people, like my colleagues or lecturers, they were able to find me and offer me, positions to speak or to interact with their, workers or something like that through LinkedIn again. And even for the comic, I found a lot of support on LinkedIn. And there are a few big plans in the offing for my page, and you'll be hearing about that soon. Yeah. So LinkedIn has been a pivotal part of my life, especially in the past few years.
So let's be on your work. What are you doing right now? Like, in which company are you posted, and which position are you working? Like, working as a marketing consultant, working as a content writer. What's you are on now?
Okay, so currently I'm working as a marketing and communication consultant at this firm called Gap Blue Software Labs here in Kochi. It's in one of the tech parks here. It's called Info Park, and I'm in working in Info Park for this firm. And as part of my work, I am dealing with a lot of technology related happenings and stuff because my company is primarily into tech. We have a long-standing reputation of working with ERP and offering ERP solutions, as well as the company is now into generative AI, and they've created their own comprehensive platform, etc. So a lot of my work revolves around internal and external comms for the same.
That's great. And like LinkedIn is all about the personal branding, which I mean to be very much. So, for the personal branding perspective, what is personal branding for you?
I'll tell my perspective on this. For me, I see a lot of people relying on AI, whether it's to write a post or
Okay.
to put out a hashtag or to find out what's the next big topic to write about. And my personal branding journey was to make sure that I would not be solely relying on AI to give me content ideas or to help me write that content. Or basically rely on AI for every step of the journey. To me, personal branding means being out there, putting yourself out there very confidently and bravely, and seeing whatever happens next. I have very openly talked about people being very creepy on LinkedIn, receiving unsolicited DMs. I have also talked about unfair job situations, not being paid unfairly, being treated poorly, and I believe that these are the experiences I want to talk about. The real human experience, we would say, right? I want to talk about those things because a lot of the posts that you see on LinkedIn are curated very carefully, put through chat GPT. Are you sure you want to do this? I don't want to be talking solely about checklists and here's a template that you can follow. Anybody can do that, but what difference are you going to bring to the table? What is that unique value that you can add, whether it's to a LinkedIn platform or to one person that who reads it and thinks, okay, this is something that can help me out. And that is what I want my platform to be about. Whether I've been talking about writing or talking about women feeling empowered at the workplace, or just about my book writing journey, I would prefer that it's all authentic and real and not something I have concocted to present an image of myself to the world. I would like it to represent how I am in real life. That much I would prefer the same to be on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's great. So actually, when I talk to you, it's being like the Two States conversation. If you had read this book, The Two State by
Yes,
Chetan
yes,
Bhagat.
yes, yes. It was one of those books that you read when you are in school, no, high school reads.
Yeah.
One of your first few introduction. I mean, Chetan Bhagat gets a lot of hate these days, his books particularly. But I loved reading Two States when I was young, and I still watch the movie. So I guess it's a win-win for everybody.
So actually, this book is very underrated in my checklist. So I just cover all my underrated books now. So when I read this book, so there's a female protagonist, the Ananya and Krish from in Punjab. I feel like same here with you. The two state.
Yeah,
But
I'm
the
glad.
thing is,
I'm glad. Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
and I think it's really mentioned by Chetan Bhagat. Like, the people who lived in South India, they are very sweet. And I just want to know about your perspective, like people about North India. What's your perspective about it?
I would like to begin by saying that it is very I'm glad you asked me my opinion. I'm totally fine talking about it, but I'm really just thinking about this fact that it has reached a point of time in in history where we are trying to debunk myths about both sides of the same country. Like, are you sure they are good people? Are you sure are you sure they are not bad people? And yeah, that this is the kind of divide that should disappear actually. I mean, there are obviously differences that arise with geography, cuisine, and all of those things. But there's so many lovely people I know from North India. I mean, especially on LinkedIn, particularly. Maybe school time experiences with certain people from that community or a region have not been exactly pleasant. But as I grew older, the people I met at college, at work, and particularly on LinkedIn have been beautiful. I've received so many lovely words, lots of appreciation, people who reached out to me personally and spoke to me. People who were kind enough to admit that maybe they don't know certain things, they were willing to ask for help. People who I could reach out and ask for help without thinking twice. And so I believe that this whole conception that one section of the country behaves a certain way, one section of the country is altogether opposite, is maybe true in terms, like I mentioned, like differences of things that you can't really change. For example, you cannot change the geographical divide, or you cannot suddenly force people to make a different dish and start eating. For example, we eat rice here regularly, and I know that a lot of people who eat chapati instead. Doesn't mean that we can enforce a similar thing on a different section of society. I think that's where the line comes in, right? It's not about imposition or trying to accuse each other. It's about coexisting beautifully as a country. I mentioned two things here.
Yeah.
I read this essay by Shashi Tharoor during college. It was part of our, learning material. And there was this line that he talked about India that still stuck with me. It was that India is not like it's like a particular dish he mentioned. I forgot what it was. And he said India is like a thali. It's full of beautiful people and cuisines and cultures that we really need to respect. And there's another thing that I realized when we talk about divides and places and things like that. All these food creators on Instagram, right? A lot of people are there. And there's particularly two people I can talk about. There's one person called Shivangi Pithisaria. I follow her page in between and check out what she's putting out as recipes. There was this dish she made called dahi tikari. I believe it's a Gujarati dish, and something involving you start tempering your spices, and then you turn off the stove, and then you add in your curd, and you get the dish. That's the recipe for dahi tikari. Turns out it's very similar to a dish we have down here in South called more curry or more koramba. So more refers to buttermilk or like curd. And I realized that that's pretty much the same dish that's called by different names in two different places. Correct me if I'm wrong. There are obviously going to be differences in the recipe, but very similar stuff that I found. There was something that I found from Odisha called Pakela Bath, Poela Bath from Bengal. If I'm not wrong, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing a word. But we have something similar down south called Paranganji or Parayasora in Tamil Nadu. The recipe is that you take the leftover rice, you soak it in water, and the next day morning you have it along with curd, chilies, onions, fish sometimes, maybe ground chutneys or some condiments like that. And it was in those moments I realized, as much as there can be divides and people trying to create a divide, there's always going to be these little connections in culture, food, music, art, etc. that are always going to bring people together. And I hope that we let go of these misconceptions soon and start creating, healthy relationships with people, irrespective of where they are from, or, go in with a mindset that if this person is from this state, they should behave this way, or if they are from a certain region, they should behave this way. I would love for it to be dispelled because it would help a lot of healthy conversations coming. Like, for example, at least the young generation should go along with that and keep an open mind.
Yeah, actually. Okay. So my next question is, what's the last book you read that truly moved you?
Okay, so I'll be honest, I don't want to lie. 2025, I've literally read just 3 books. And the last book I read was a comic from Amar Chitra Kada, Vasanta Sena. And I even read that hoping it would get me out of my reading slump. But unfortunately, I'm still stuck in a place where I'm not able to get out of it effectively. But I can talk about one book that really moved me last year. And I would say that's Who Moved My Cheese. I would have to check the author's name somewhere here. But Who Moved My Cheese is a very short self-help book. And coming from this, you can take as kind of gospel truth because I'm not somebody who reads self-help at all. You can check with my book club people. They know how much I hate reading non-fiction. I'm somebody who loves reading fiction. But I randomly went to a bookstore, got suggested this by a friend. He's like, Srijit was there with me. He's like, why don't you read this? And I was like, okay, might as well pick this up. And I took it. And then I came home and I was going through phases where you need to make decisions. Right? There are points of time in life where you need to make crucial decisions without worrying about the consequences. Like when you're stuck in between two places and you don't know what to do. And this book really talked to me on a personal level, I felt. It's a beautiful, it just talks about two mice and how they deal with their journey to chase and what's your chase and how you get along, how you move forward along this journey and what matters to you, etc. Essentially, the story comes down to this. There's always going to be setbacks and challenges in life. There's always going to be roadblocks that you have to conquer and move forward. But it's whether you choose to sit back and mope around about these things happening to you, or you can, actively, proactively be like, okay, this happened to me, and it's really sad that this happened to me, but I can keep moving forward and see what I can do next. Usually, the answer to your problems can be found in moving forward, is a message that I got from that book. And for somebody who maybe at that point of time I needed some time to make the right choice, and that really helped me. So that is a book I would suggest people to read. Who Moved My Cheese?
Who Moved Things. Okay. So, I just want you one more question. That is, what's a wow moment in your whole journey as a marketing consultant, or as a writer, as an author, as a content creator? So, what's your wow moment?
I would say it's moments like these where I have been asked my opinion for
Okay.
on subjects. Recently, I got interviewed by one Miss Garima Sinha for the organization she works at. It's called Ad Pulse, a New York-based advertising agency. And she approached me for an interview, and she said I'll be writing an article on the same, and I'm reaching out to experts. And so when I heard that, but I was like, are you sure I'm an expert? Because it's at that point of time that you start questioning, when did I become an expert in my field? But then I was really glad that people were able to identify that authenticity I bring to my work, and were able to see that I'm talking about genuine things and that I have genuine opinions to contribute. And it was in that moment I realized, okay, maybe I have made it somewhere. And when you invited me for the podcast again, I felt happy. One of the primary goals was of putting out that comic was to at least make sure to reach a few children, at least one child or one parent. And I received a lot of nice messages in that regard too. I had somebody from the book club reach out to me and say that the book reminded him of his own tragic experience in childhood, and he understood that while it was unpleasant, it helped him be a better parent and be there for children better. And that he said, thank you for doing this for the kids of today. And I felt really good that there's somebody who recognizes what I'm trying to do there. And maybe it's these moments along the journey where people believe you're capable of delivering value or offering something of value to the audience. And I'm somebody who always believes in giving back to the community in whatever little way I can. Maybe I'm not in a position where I can start, doling out scholarships and, giving jobs to people, which is something I would love to do, but, we are not in a position exactly to do that. So what can I do instead of that? I can maybe offer the experiences that I've had on the way, the advice that I have gained through my actual experience, being there for people in whatever way I can. And it is through these experiences that I believe I can reach out to a larger audience. So these were my wow moments.
So, it's just the end of our conversation. So, what's one epic takeaway you want our audience to steal from you? Like one message from all the young content creator, all the young youth who just want to explore their life and wants to choose what a meaningful path for them that should work out.
I just have one message for anybody watching. Start today. Whether you missed out on your goals 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or whether you're scared about what the future holds for you, or whether you are unsure of what you should be doing next, start today. Whether it is in applying to that next job, writing the script for your next video on LinkedIn or a reel on Instagram, or writing that dream story, please start today. It is something that I have struggled with. I'm somebody, my mom keeps teasing me that you advise people but you procrastinate on your own. And that was something that I wanted to get out of. I'm still trying to get out of it. I'm not we all have our imperfections. And I tell myself, when I have these grand plans that I want to execute, I tell myself, Jessica, start today. Don't delay any further. and it was that same motivation that has helped us bring the comic till here. It was that same decision that helped me build my LinkedIn profile. It has been those decisions that has helped me land good jobs or be in places where I can be of help to other people. So start today, whatever may be the dream of yours, whether it's in content creation, landing your next job, writing a book, or maybe just going on that short travel to your next district. Do it today, or make the first step for that today. And once that first step is done, you will slowly see the rest of the journey unfolding before you. You will be able to take the decisions that come along your way, and sooner or later you will realize that you are in a place that you're actually happy with, because someday in the past you decided to take that first step. So do it today, do it for you, do it for the person who couldn't actually do it for themselves in the past, and do it for your future self. And if you want to do that, do it today. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jessica, for being with us today. And for all the listeners, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to follow, share, and stay inspired. And this is Shweta Jha signing off. See you in the next episode with so. So this is all about the Jessica story. If you like this story and if this podcast really touch your heart, do subscribe this channel, because in this next podcast episode you will find so many working professional who actually don't write just for their profession, but they write to change the world. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and thank you.